Hey guys, what is up? It is No Help and welcome back to another video today. So I've been having so much fun playing the leagues that I haven't actually even logged into the main game in about a week now. So I wanted to go over the economy and check the prices of all of the items, the ups and the downs, and see if the leagues update has had an effect on the economy. Okay, so the first item right here is the zombie axe, and apparently it has actually gone down in the past month. If you look at the start of the month, November 6th, all the way to now, it's went from 1.9 mil almost to 1.3. Kind of crazy. If we check the last year of this item, obviously like when it first was released, right, but it's been pretty stable. But look at this, like 2.5 mil, 2 mil, it's always been around 2 mil, even had some highs of 3 mil, but it has dropped all the way down to 1.2. So the next item we're going to be checking is the Granite Mall, and look at this, from 500k up to 710 in just a month. Now the reason behind this, I believe a lot of people are moving over to the leagues, and people who play the game to PK, there's less of them coming into the game now, right? If we check the last year of this item, for the longest time, man, this was dirt cheap at about 150k, and then I guess the bot problem or whatever, and they went up to 700k for a while. The gargoyles was a really good moneymaker, but it started dropping again, stabilizing at about 500,000 GP. We go back to the last month though, went from about 500,000 GP to 710k. Would have been a really good investment, but you never know. Okay, so we got the Blood Moon Tacits right now, and they had a huge increase because of the last update with the Varlamore, the new batch coming out, and we got the Huecoatl boss, so it was very effective at Huecoatl, so it caused them to go up quite a bit. But as you can see, this month, they went from 14.5 million down to 11. If we check the past year of this item, right, they were pretty affordable for the most part for a while. They started rising a bit, dropping. They were as low as like 3.7 million GP, but obviously they started rising when we got news about the Huecoatl boss. And then when it eventually did come out, they went up to 14 million GP. These are just the Tacits, keep in mind. And yeah, 14 million GP all the way down to, 10.7 now. Not the hugest loss, but still kind of went down quite a bit. The Blood Rune is always an item I love to check out because it kind of shows me how Jagex is doing with bots, any rune really, right? So 213 down to 210, nothing crazy over the past month, had a high about 230. We take a look at the past year of the Blood Rune, right? For the longest time, the Blood Rune was pretty much the same price as you could sell it to Alcrid, the guy in Alcrid in the desert for, 200 GP, pretty sad. And I think when it rises, they're doing something about bots, right? Because a lot of bots, or it also like certain PVM updates happen where it causes people to use the scythe, right? Maybe Scurious. I'm trying to think of other updates this year that a lot of people use the scythe for, Raxor, right? And then, drops back down here again. And when they were doing a huge thing with the bots, it went from 200 GP all the way back up to 300 again. And it started crashing. From in September, it was 312 all the way down to November being 221. So yeah, at least we're above the price you can sell them still. So we're going to take a look at Zulrah scales. So they went from 294 all the way up to 316. So they had a pretty decent increase this month, which is kind of surprising, honestly. I guess maybe some people are using them. There's less coming into the game because a lot of people are on the leagues right now. And as you can see, when the leagues came out, the leagues came out this day right here. Right from here, it was an increase, right? Less of them are coming into the game. We'll take a look at the past year of this item, and it looks like Jagex is really doing something about bots, because for the longest time they were dirt cheap, about 130 to 150 GP each, even dropping really low to like 111, right? And around the summer, they were doing a lot of stuff about bots, went from 116 and just skyrocketed. Now they're 300 GP each. Go kill Zulrah. Another item you can check to see if Jagex is doing something about bots is Superior Dragon Bones dropped from Vorkath. They went from 24k to 26k, so they did have an increase this month. Obviously, same thing. More people are on the leagues, less are coming into the game, right? And as you can see, November 27th, when leagues came out, 26k. Just a couple days later, they went up to 30k. That's crazy, man. 30k each is so profitable. I should have made a video, honestly, on killing things after the release of leagues, but anyways, we'll take a look at the last year of the Superior Dragon Bone, and it's clear that Jagex is doing something about the bots, right? Again, in the summertime here, May, June, is really when, you know, it started getting really bad. And then they definitely made a change, because they went from like 9k each all the way now up to 28. And we've had more players than ever before. Insane. Now, the Rock Armbwand is an item I really wanted to check out because I've been fishing them AFK on the side while I play the leagues. I haven't for the past few days, but it is what it is. 345 all the way to 366. I'm actually really surprised that they went up, because if you have the fish barrel, this is one of the most AFK things in the game, and I figured a lot of people would be on alt accounts or say Ironman accounts doing this on the side when they're playing the leagues. But yeah, it went up actually, which is crazy. So look at the past year of these items, 339 to 346. So we've actually had a decrease, and they had a high in June, about 466 each, which is crazy. Now the nature rune went from 108 down to 103. There was an update within the past year where they made the achievement diary cape very good for crafting these, and you can make a lot of money per hour. So let's check the last year of this. So they were as low as 90, even lower than that, like 92, 94 GP each. Crazy, man. And they had a high this year of about 189. Pretty crazy to see them this low. Go back to the past month, and they are dropping. But we've got the Dragon Hunter Lance, another item that went up crazy high because of Arlamore Part 2 with the Huey Codal boss, from 66 million down to 60. That's pretty insane for just a month. And if we take a look at the past year of this item, I remember for the longest time, right, this item was like 30 million, which is just crazy, right? Back in the day, we're talking really back in the day, 2020, it was 100 mil, right? And then for the longest time, right, if we go back to the past year, it was like 30-40 million GP, rising a little bit depending on the update or whatever, right? But when the Huey Codal boss came out, it went up to like 73 mil, which I thought was insane at the time, because the Dragon Hunter crossbow did too. But yeah, back down to 60. Now, people always ask me in the comments to check out the Dragon Full Helm, because it's one of those like quote-unquote rare items in the game, because party hats and stuff are kind of just like, they give them out every year, right? We don't really have rare items, maybe besides like Gilded or Third Age, but the Dragon Full Helm is one of those items, from 74 million GP up to 83 in just a month. Crazy, man. And if we look at the past year of this item, it actually dropped, which does surprise me. If we take a look at the entirety of this item though, here we go. Yeah, it used to be like 14 million GP, right? This is like when Oldschool Runescape first came out, right? And then for the longest time was like 30-40 million GP. And in the last little while, it's been one of those like items that people that have a lot of money go for just as a flex item. And just in this month, it's went up quite a bit. So how has the Noxious Halberd been holding up since the release of Araxor? This month from 20 million down to 19, so it's dropped about 1 million GP. And we'll take a look at the past little while of this item. Obviously, when it first came out type thing, it's going to be worth a lot more. If we take a look at the past year, obviously when it was first released, right, 70 mil, 28 mil, and as you can see right now, it's just been dropping, honestly. It's kind of crazy. 19 million GP for this item. It's one of those things, man. How has the best in slot amulet been doing in the past month? From 92 down to 82, dropped 10 million GP in the past month. If we look at the past quarter of this item, it was crazy to me that an amulet was worth this much. Like, obviously in September when it first kind of dropped type thing, it was worth that much. To me, was insane, and it went as high as 106 million GP. It's obviously best in slot, but still, I thought that was crazy, man. And it's kind of almost been dropping ever since. I think it will keep dropping, maybe go to like 60 mil. So we've got the chugging barrel. Now this was obviously an update with Farlowmore Part 2. And if you take a look at the quarter of it, I remember people selling this for over 300 million GP because they just rushed it on release and sold it and, you know, cashed out really quickly, which was really smart. Even a few days after, you could still make like 50, 60 million GP per one of these things. But ever since then, it's just been dropping. It has very niche uses. It's one of those things where it's like, it's good for certain bosses or whatever, but not 300 million GP worth, right? I personally didn't even bother to get it on my Ironman account because I wouldn't ever really use it. I think it would be more of an inconvenience to use it rather than use it, if that even makes sense. But it has its niche uses. Niche uses for sure. We'll take a look at the past month from 10 to kind of 10 again. It did drop a little bit, which is interesting, but did recover, I guess. When leagues came out right here, went up a little bit. Obviously, I guess less coming into the game. We've got the goading potion, and it went from 65k to 54k this month. That's kind of interesting, honestly, that it did drop. Usually when less are coming into the game, right, usually the item does go up, but are they being less useful? And especially with something like this where it allows you to AFK, I thought more would be being used during the league, but maybe not. Take a look at the past quarter of this item. Again, on release, you could make absolute bank. There were people like getting 99 Herblore and making millions and millions of GP, which is something Old School hasn't really seen before. But, you know, like, they released in September, and even till like mid-October, you could still make, like, there were 100,000 GP each, so you could still make quite a bit of money off these. But ever since then, they've been dropping, which is crazy. I think I did predict that they would be about 50k GP and stay at there. So if they do drop below this, I would be a little surprised, but yeah, they're very good potions and very good to train with. And if you can get some creature that you can profit with and still use these potions, then you're golden right now. So we got the overhyped Dragon Hunter wand going from 29 mil to 29 mil. Didn't really have too much of an increase this month. Had a high of about 30.8. And we'll take a look at the past quarter of this item. Obviously, again, on release is crazy at the start. Even being, you know, in October still being 40-something million GP. Kind of stayed stable for the most part. Dropped a little bit. It's kind of rising again, honestly. But it's one of those very niche items. Until they make some big changes with it, I don't think it will increase too much. It's useful for dragons on Slayer tasks. We have the Elder Maul, which is something I really want to get from the Chambers of Xeric, going from 126 million down to 109 just this month. Kind of sad because this is a very good item, very good spec weapon, and they made quite a bit of changes to it in the past year, as you can see. For the longest time, this time last year, this item was 23 million GP and kind of stayed that way, honestly, until they made changes to it where it is much better to use, better, kind of more like the Dragon Warhammer, but better, right? From 43 million up to 145 in just a couple of weeks. Crazy, and had a high this year of 172. Crazy for an item that, you know, previously was like 20 mil all the way up to 172. And it's sort of honestly stabilized since then. Like, it's been over 100 mil for the longest time. Does look like it is on the decline right now. So we have the Enhanced Crystal Weapon Seed, otherwise known as the BOFA. went from 164 down to 160, 162. Not the craziest decrease, obviously. We'll take a look at the past year of this item, and it's actually just been completely on the rise. Again, I think this is to do with bots being in the game. Jagex has really been killing it, honestly, with doing so many updates to bots and getting as many of them out of the game as possible. And the corrupted gauntlet was something bots really liked, because when they did land the good items, they made a killing doing so. But now that less and less and less bots are in the game, the BOFA is actually kind of where it should be. It's a very, very good item, and for it being less than 100 mil this time last year was crazy, because it is, you know, a budget twisted bow. It's very, very good. From 94 all the way to 164 in a year, and over the past month it's really just been stable. Okay, so we've got the blood shard prices from 12.3 to holy 10.9 in just a month. And yeah, we'll take a look at the past year of this item. Crazy. Again, probably a lot of bots were doing it at this time. When they were fixing the botting problem, this is kind of where it started to skyrocket from 5 right to 12. And even had a high of 16 mil, man. And right after the high, it dropped down back to about 9.3. But, you know, even 10 mil, 11 mil each is still way better than it was last year. The Christmas cracker was an item I was kind of curious about, because we are going to be getting the Christmas event soon, which is going to be bringing a lot of them into the game. And it actually had an increase this month from 290, 270k all the way up to 308. Crazy to think about that, because we're going to be getting so many of them within a couple of weeks. And if we take a look at the past year of this item, it used to be, you know, 150k, you know, one of those items that people like to collect because they used to be so rare. The most expensive item, I think, in RuneScape 3, unless they've made some weird armor or something. But people started, you know, using them for gambling, because there's not really a way to gamble in RuneScape that much anymore. And they had a high of 3 million GP, and then Jagex made a change to them where you couldn't really use them for gambling anymore, and they dropped. But they're higher than they were before the drop, which is kind of interesting, right? They're 100,000 GP more. We do have a lot more players now, but that means when the Christmas event does come, we're going to be getting an absolute ton of them into the game. So the question is, will the Scythe pass the T-Bow? That's been the question for a long time now, and in this month went from 1.6 bill, you know, it dropped about 40 million GP, something like that, 1.659 to 1.611. So yeah, it did drop a little bit. But if you take a look at the past year of this item, it's just been a great thing to invest in. This time last year, 735 million, it's doubled in price. More than doubled in price, which is crazy. And it's just been an increase really the whole time. Had a few drops, but for the most part, it's been a healthy increase, which is crazy. Now we've got my dream item here, the Twisted Bow. 1.6 bill down to 1.62 bill. So it dropped about, what, 50 million GP this month. Oh, I guess people may be panic selling or something because of the leagues. Oh, it's gonna drop. Let's sell, sell, sell. I don't know what it is. Less people doing less people doing a bunch of raids and farming this. It's weird. I don't know. But we'll take a look at the past year of this item, and it's increased. It went from about 1.5 bill up to 1.62. So it has increased about 100 million GP and had a high of 1.7 bill this year. I don't really want the Scythe to pass it, but I think it still will. Now we've got the magic version of the Twisted Bow, the Atomic in Shadow, and it only really increased about 3 million GP this month. Had a high of about, you know, 1.210 bill. Like, it's not crazy or anything like that. We look at the past year of this item, and it's dropped a lot. Range and melee have just had so much more updates to them, more bosses that you could use them with, and it's caused this item to go down quite a bit. Also, this is by far the most popular raid to do, and a lot more of these are coming into the game than the others. It's because a lot of lower levels can easily tackle this raid. It's the easiest raid to learn. You can set it at your own difficulty type thing, so a lot more people did it, and it was the reason this is the first raid that I learned. But yeah, 1.5 bill all the way down to 1.2, kind of sad, but we'll have to see. Maybe if we get a magic update or something. We've got the Old School Runescape bond. That's something that I always like to do last, just because it kind of shows the price of membership and how Old School Runescape is doing. If it's doing very well, it should increase. And yeah, 14.3 up to 14.3. So it really hasn't increased that much. It did drop quite a bit. And then obviously when the leagues did come out, right before then, like, people were obviously investing in it and they knew. And then when leagues did come out, it kind of just, you know, stabilized. It's weird. I think it's one of those items people really knew a lot of people were gonna be wanting to get membership for the leagues, and right when the leagues came out, yeah, you can see it. But if you look at the last year, this item, it should always be going up quite a bit. This time last year they were less than 10 mil. That's crazy, man. That was only a year ago that they were 9.3 million GP, and now a bond is 14 mil. This year, you know, that's the highest they've been, actually. 14 million GP, kind of crazy. Should always be going up. We'll see. I think eventually bonds will be like 50 mil. Crazy to even think about that. How the hell are you gonna make 50 mil in free to play? Well, I'm going to get back to playing the league. Sorry for anyone who has been missing my regular content. I've just been having so much fun with the leagues, and we'll probably be doing so for at least the next couple of weeks, and then it will definitely slow down a bit for me. I'm already kind of getting a little burnt out, but I just want to play it as much as possible and get the most out of it, especially because I don't have as much time to play as I used to. But yeah, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching the video today. If you went ahead and watched the whole video, comment condensed gold down in the comments. That would be amazing. I appreciate you guys. See you in the next one.